Kamen Rider, the first, Kamen Raidā Za Fāsuto, Masked Rider, the first, is a 2005 Japanese tokusatsu superhero film. The film is a reboot adaptation of the television series Kamen Rider, though there are many differences between the film and the original program. Some of these, however, are due to a closer reliance on the original Kamen Rider manga by Shotaro Ishinomori. Written by Toshiki Inoue and directed by Takao Nagaishi, the film stars Masaya Kikawada as Takeshi Hongo / Kamen Rider 1 and Hassei Takano as Hayato Ichimonji / Kamen Rider 2. The film was released theatrically on November 5, 2005, though it had several early screenings around Tokyo during the previous 2 months, beginning on October 23 at the Tokyo Film Festival. While it was the first Kamen Rider to be released independently, it was not screened on major Toei-affiliated cinemas, and was only shown on around 20 theaters during its first day. It was released on Region 2 DVD on April 21, 2006. American anime distributor Media Blasters released the film subtitled only on Region 1 DVD on April 3, 2007, but this version of the film is no longer in print. The film's theme song is Bright Our Future by Upon, though the opening features a small portion of the original Kamen Rider theme song, Let's Go! Rider Kick, sung by Masato Shimon. The film was produced by Ishinomori Productions and Toei, who have also produced every previous television series and films in the Kamen Rider franchise. It was followed by a sequel, Kamen Rider, The Next. College student Takeshi Hongo is abducted into terrorist organization Shocker, Sacred Hegemony of Cycle Kindred Evolutional Realm, at the hands of a cyborg and humanoid, Kaijin, known as the Bat. There, he undergoes painful reconstructive surgery, turning him into an inhumanoid himself. Unlike the original series, he does not escape prior to mental condition by Shocker, and becomes one of their soldiers, nicknamed Hopper. He carries out a mission successfully, and meets Shocker's major agents, including Dr. Shinigami. Hongo receives his orders: kill those who have seen Shocker's and humanoid soldiers. However, what he doesn't realize is that the two witnesses are the journalist who had interviewed him prior to his kidnapping, Asuka Midorikawa, Rinako Mine, and her fiancé Katsuhiko Yano, Hassei Takano. Attacking the two along with Shocker's soldier Spider, it is here that Hongo remembers his humanity, and has an epiphany with regards to what he should do. Despite his efforts, Katsuhiko is killed by Spider, and Asuka finds Hongo next to the body. Blaming him for Katsuhiko's death, she begins to follow him, attempting to ascertain why who she thought was a normal college student is a murderer. Meanwhile, at Shocker headquarters, it is revealed that those who undergo Shocker's treatment need periodic blood transfusions, lest they reject their cybernetic components. Though Hongo seems to lack the need for the transfusions, he is labeled a traitor by Shocker and must be destroyed. It is here that Dr. Shinigami reveals his plan to create a second soldier based on Hopper's design to do the job. Hongo, having now abandoned Shocker, visits Tobei Tachibana, who gives him his motorcycle, the Cyclone. He is then able to defeat Spider. Asuka meets Hayato Ichimonji, who is identical to her fiancé, who she thought was dead. He reveals that Katsuhiko Yano was an alias. What he doesn't tell Asuka is that he has been kidnapped by Shocker and turned into the second Hopper. His mission: defeat Hongo at any cost. The film also features a subplot, interspersed throughout. It involves two terminally ill hospital patients, who get a chance to live after an offer by Shocker. The couple is taken to Shocker's island base, where they laugh and play under the watchful eye of Shocker's sinister bird logo. It is only then that it is revealed that this part of the film has been a flashback, taking place around a year ago. The two had undergone the reconfiguration and surfaced in the current story as Shocker's soldiers Cobra and Snake, who branded Ichimonji a traitor for failing Shocker by putting his feelings for Asuka first. Ultimately, the riders team up after bad attempts to kidnap Asuka and turn her into an inhumanoid, which enrages Ichimonji enough to cause him to turn on his former masters. They defeat Shocker's 3 cyborg soldiers at their island base, but Shinigami and other major agents have survived, and they're already in the fashioning of a new base of operations while plotting a new scheme to eliminate riders, once and for all. The Inhumanoids in Kamen Rider, the first, are not non-humans as their name would suggest, but rather cyborgs much like the Kamen Riders. The organization's ranks are depicted as having 3 commanding characters, seen only on screens, as well as several special class soldiers and unidentified grunts. Shocker staff, elderly gentlemen, Shaka Kangurashinshi, depicted in the film as the figurehead of Shocker. He is a mysterious elderly man with vampire-like fangs and dons a long black and red cape. During the course of the film, he appears only via satellite on screens in the Shocker headquarters. His physical whereabouts are unknown. He is an adaptation of the original television series character Dr. Shinigami Hakkase. Shocker staff, Lady Shaka Kanbo Bijo, female commander in the Shocker ranks. She is responsible for the selecting of new and humanoid candidates to be inducted into the organization. Like Dr. Shinigami, Lady only appears via satellite on screens in the Shocker headquarters, and her physical whereabouts are unknown. Shocker staff, Youth, Shaka Kanbu Wakamono, a young male commander in the Shocker ranks. He is responsible for the organization of missions and troop deployment. Like Dr. Shinigami and Lady, Youth only appears via satellite on screens in the Shocker headquarters, and his physical whereabouts are unknown. Hopper 1, the brainwashed state of Takeshi Hongo. He is a special class soldier in the Shocker ranks charged with the carrying out of covert search and destroy missions. He later becomes self-aware and defects from Shocker, instead fighting against them as Kamen Rider 1. Hopper 2, the brainwashed state of Hayato Ichimonji. He is a special class soldier in the Shocker ranks charged with hunting and eliminating the traitor, Hopper 1. He later becomes self-aware and begins fighting against Shocker, alongside Hongo, as Kamen Rider 2. Spider, Sapida, field captain in the Shocker ranks. He is responsible for covert assassination missions, and is behind several mysterious deaths prior to and during the course of the film. He is eventually destroyed by Kamen Rider 1's Rider Kick. Bato, a field captain in the Shocker ranks. He is responsible for the recruitment, abduction, of potential and humanoid candidates. He is the only Shocker soldier depicted as being capable of flight. He is ultimately destroyed by Kamen Rider 1 and 2's double Rider Kick. Cobra, Kabura, the brainwashed state of Haruhiko Mitamura Haruhiko. He is a special class soldier assigned to Bat Squadron, and later works independently alongside his romantic interest, Snake. He is mortally wounded by Kamen Rider 1's Rider Kick and dies while holding Snake's lifeless body in his arms. Snake, Sinaku, the brainwashed state of Miyoko Harada Miyoko. She is a special class soldier assigned to Bat Squadron, and later works independently alongside her romantic interest, Cobra. She is mortally wounded by Kamen Rider 2's Rider Kick, and dies in Cobra's arms. Several actors in this film have appeared in previous Kamen Rider productions. Hiroshi Miyachi plays Tobei Tachibana, a character who has appeared in numerous other Kamen Rider shows, acting as a sort of father figure to the writers. Miyachi is known for portraying the title character in 1973's Kamen Rider V3. Hassei Takano, who portrays Hayato Ichimonji, Kamen Rider 2, in the film, also starred as Miyuki Hazuka, Kamen Rider Rhea, in the 2002 series Kamen Rider Raidanki. Hideo Yamamoto posthumously reprises his role as Dr. Shinigami through archival footage from the original Kamen Rider series. The crew of the first also features many returning faces. Director Takao Nagaishi is a longtime tokusatsu director who has helmed several episodes of 2000 and SIX's Kamen Rider Kabuto. Nagaishi was also an assistant director on the original Kamen Rider series. The film was written by Toshiki Inoue, a popular fixture in anime and tokusatsu screenwriting. He has written virtually every theatrical film in the Kamen Rider franchise, as well as all the episodes of Kamen Rider Agito, except for one, and Kamen Rider 555. He also served as a writer on Kamen Rider Koga, Kamen Rider Ryuki, Kamen Rider Blade, and Kamen Rider Hibiki. Inoue is the son of the late Masaru Ugami, who was the chief writer on the original Kamen Rider series, as well as Kamen Rider V3, Kamen Rider Stronger, and New Kamen Rider. The movie has a great deal of elements from the original television series that spread across from the beginning to end, although several of these conflict with the film's timing. Hongo Takeshi originally had to ride his motorcycle at high speeds to power his Typhoon belt and transform into his rider form, while Ichimonji Hayato was able to power the Typhoon by arm movements. Although Hongo was able to do the same eventually, the movie version can do it from the beginning. The rider's henshin movement is also different from the actual series. In the series, Hongo and Ichimonji perform a series of stylish hand waving, then jump into the air to complete the transformation. In this movie, they simply open up their leather jackets, or polo shirt, in one of Ichimonji's cases, revealing the Typhoon belt, and their body armor, then snapped on their helmets and faceplates on their heads to transform. These movements are implemented later in the movies, but are mostly just showy poses that have no connection to their transformation. Dr. Shinigami appears from the very beginning of the movies, although in the original series, he appeared after the defeat of Colonel Zal, the first Shocker general. The character of Hayato Ichimonji was completely rewritten. In the television series, Ichimonji was a photographer who was kidnapped to become Shocker's new Kamen Rider. Although he was rescued by Takeshi Hongo before he could be brainwashed, the two were allies from the beginning. In the film, Ichimonji was originally Katsuhiko Yano, the lover of Asuka Midorikawa. Katsuhiko was killed by Spider, and Hongo/Hopper was framed for it. Katsuhiko's corpse was recovered and turned into a cyborg similar to Hongo. His brain was altered to believe he was a man named Hayato Ichimonji in competition for Asuka's affection. Ichimonji originally served as Hongo's enemy, and later a hesitant ally. He disappears at the end of the movie, leaving his helmet on the road. Asuka Midorikawa shares the same last name as one of Hongo's professors who had worked for Shocker, Professor Midorikawa. In the original series, it is Professor Midorikawa who saves Hongo before he can be subjected to brain surgery by providing the distraction to allow Hongo to escape, only to ultimately be murdered by the Spider. Asuka also shares a similarity with Professor Midorikawa's daughter, Ruriko. Both had witnessed the death of their respected loved ones, Professor Midorikawa for Ruriko, who was her father, and Katsuhiko Yano for Asuka, who was her fiancé, with their own eyes, and originally thought that Hongo was to blame for it. The both of them ultimately found out the truth and forgave Hongo. Masaya Kikawada as Takeshi Hongo, Hongo Takeshi. Hassei Takano as Hayato Ichimonji, Katsuhiko Yano, Ichimonji Hayato, Yano Katsuhiko. Rina Komine as Asuka Midorikawa, Midorikawa Asuka. Hiroshi Mayachi as Tobii Tachibana, Tachibana Tobii. Eiji Wins as Haruhiko Mitamura, Mitamura Haruhiko. Ryoko Kobayashi as Miyoko Harada, Harada Miyoko. Mayumi Sato as Shocker Staff, Lady, Shaka Kanba Bijo. Isa Hentone as Shocker Staff, Youth, Shaka Kanba Wakamono. Hideo Yamamoto as Shocker Staff, Elderly Gentleman, Dr. Shinigami, Shaka Kanda Roshinshi. Eiji Maruyama is the voice of Shocker Staff, Elderly Gentleman, Dr. Shinigami. Itsuji Ateo as Spider, Saprida. Kanji Suda as Bat, Bato. Renji Ishibashi as the member of the House of Representatives, Daijishi. Hirataro Honda is the private secretary, Hishokan. Hitomi Nakahodo as Megumi, Megumi. Katsumi Shirono as Shocker Combat Men, Shaka Sentoin, voice. Opening theme. Let's Go. Rider Kick. Retsu Go. Raida Kiku. Lyrics, Shotaro Ishinomori. Composition and arrangement, Shunsuke Kikuchi. Artist, Koichi Fuji. Ending theme. Bright. Our Future. Lyrics, Isa. Composition, Isa and Yukinari. Arrangement, Yukinari and Yuane Shinji Tanahashi. Artist, DePump. The film received a manga adaptation illustrated by Tatsuya Egawa and was serialized in Tokusatsu Ace. However, it became notorious among Kamen Rider fans for its poor quality, which led to Egawa to receive a permanent contract dissolution from Toei after the first chapter was released. In the 227th episode of the radio show Let's Go Manga Chick with Kazuhiko Shimamoto, who has done previous works with the Kamen Rider franchise with a Kamen Rider Zio manga and a one-shot manga based on Kamen Rider Black, criticized the author's lack of motivation about the drawings as if they were preliminary drawings with no background, and the loss of composition. He also criticized the manga's editor for approving the low-quality illustrations, quoting, "When I get this manuscript, I'm going to turn my desk over and not take it back." A sequel was produced in 2007 called Kamen Rider, The Next. The film included the writer Kamen Rider V3 who had his own show in 1973, which was a sequel to the original Kamen Rider show. The film is often considered by fans to be one of the most dark and violent Kamen Rider adaptations in the series. The film was pointed out for its horror elements as well.